Hello and welcome to the Beyond the Hustle podcast. My name is Lydia Wilmsen and I'm a mindset and business coach for high-achieving entrepreneurs. In this podcast, I share insights into how you can create a life of freedom, happiness, and personal fulfillment while increasing financial success way beyond what you have achieved with hustle alone so far. Plus, every other week, I interview inspiring and out-of-the-box thinking entrepreneurs. Have fun and enjoy. Welcome to today's episode, and today I have an interview with Minna Hu. And she was previously a software engineer in Silicon Valley and now is real estate investor and coach. And I'm very excited to hear your story today. So welcome to the show, Minna.
Thank you for having me, Lydia.
And as per usual, as we start, is to get a little bit of your background story, like where do you come from, who are you, and what do you do? As my very first question for you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Minna Hu. I come from China. Both my parents are teachers. I was always taught to have a stable job. And in the generation I was growing up, software engineering was a great way to make money. And it's a very popular major. So I got into software engineering. Lucky enough, I like software engineering, so I did my bachelor and my master degree in software engineering, and then did a job in a Swedish company, Ericsson. So did that for many years, and then I got an opportunity to move to California, Silicon Valley, to join a new team there. From there, my life took a different turn that I never expected. I met my husband, and then he was in real estate investing before I even met him. And he got me into finance and investing. And eventually I quit my job ahead of him because we decided that for the family, because our kids was born, and then it's better that I quit my job and focus on our investing side hustle for full-time, turn it into a full-time gig. So that's how I got out of a full-time job and become my own boss. And after that, we bought more properties. We built a few businesses. And now I'm also getting into coaching so I can share my experience and help other people do the same.
Super, super interesting. And I obviously already had a little glimpse on your website. So it would be very interesting, like you shared your story, how you even got out of China. And you already mentioned that there is a different mindset of what the kids should do and do something that brings money. So would you like to share what made you escape, or not escape, that's perhaps the wrong word, but made you leave China? Like, why did you even go to the US in that way?
Yeah, for me, it won't be a story that you even imagined. Like, I don't have a plan to say I want to go to America to pursue my American dream. For me, it's just, this is something that is really interesting. China has a term called 剩女. In English means leftover woman. So for any woman that is not married at 25 years old, which is like really young. If you're not married at 25 years old, they think you lost your competitive edge. You are too old to choose your life.
You're like, so no one wants you and you're gone. You're left over at 25.
Yeah, you're
still a child.
Now I'm looking at it, it's like so young, 25 years old. But yeah, that was a culture at that time. And I was under lots of pressure to, get rid of that label. I want to be not a leftover woman. I want to be a valued woman. So I was going, my parents introduced me to a guy in China, and then met every criteria for marriage: stable job, a condo in Beijing, and I don't want to disclose too much details in case people put them into that position. Anyway, so we got engaged, and I realized that I couldn't imagine what my future would be with this relationship. 1 month after, I just, panicked, and I said, I can't make this decision for my life. And I can't even imagine how my future will be, how my family would be, how I raise my kids with this guy. He's very nice. We're just not fit for each other. So I decided to say, hey, because I was a software engineer before, which I don't get much chance to meet different people. So I decided to get into a project manager role. And I told my boss, and I said, hey, I want to quit this job and go to a different company. And she said, oh, I happen to build a new team in Silicon Valley. Do you want to come? I was like, I never thought about going to US. Like growing when I was in college, a lot of people around me was like, my only dream is going to US. I never thought about it, but I was not, I don't have anything to lose at this point. And then sounds like a really interesting work opportunity. So I decided to go, and I got interviewed, I got an offer, and I said goodbye to my friends all within a month. And I just said, bye-bye, I'm going to California. So yeah, there I was, that's how I got out of China. And of course, when I come to US, wasn't the plan that, I want to get out of the hamster wheel, I want to get into investing. That never was in my mind. But my life kind of take a turn from there, because I decided to get out of an environment that does not have the exact things I was looking for. Of course, in that time, it's just, a good relationship, a man that I thought I would, grow and then become better every day with. So that's how I came to the US.
It's very interesting and ties very nicely in with lots of the philosophies that I teach, or mindset perspectives I have and teach. Is this, like sometimes you really have to let go, and so much amazingness can come from this place of just letting go and taking an opportunity, not with this idea of, like with detachment almost, because you said, I didn't go there to have this big, amazing job and all of that. It was just like, okay, new opportunity, let's just go, and being totally open to what would happen. And yeah, you met your husband there, you started your family, you have a very successful business or several businesses. So how was the shift from being a software engineer, and I guess it still was part of your identity, to then let go of that? Like another thing of letting go, also like culturally wise, like have a good job, what you said, your parents were teachers and told you this is how you do things, so to say. So how was this step for you to let go of your software engineer title, so to say, and go all in into a different direction?
This might sound surprising to you. I'm still programming because I don't like every aspect of software engineering. What I love most is the automation part. I like to be able to, writing script to automate the things that it's manual. Now I can automate it and then make it efficient. I guess I never let go that, I was a software engineer because I loved the job. It's just investing and owning businesses give me more freedom. By freedom, I mean financial freedom, and also freedom to have more time, how to spend my time, where do I want to live, and who do I want to spend my time with. And as I was getting into investing and running businesses, I also find there's a very important aspect that I never thought before the freedom lies is the emotional freedom. Because I think the first few years of, after quitting my job, I was, experiencing all kinds of emotions, anxiety, worry, feel like not confident, and then sometimes excited, and then sometimes super joyful. I really realized that the next level of freedom is to actually be able to master our emotions when we build the fortune and the financial freedom, to have more time, to not lose ourselves in the process, and to still be able to master our emotion and to have a better emotional experience. So that's how, if I look back my whole life, not sound like I'm that old, but the years that has passed, that what I really summarize what I have been pursuing is the freedom in finance, time, and then emotions. Getting out of software engineer, it's like I said before, I never planned for it when we started. So I got into real estate because I saw my husband had real estate before. Not before, when we met, he already owned properties, and he had a really struggling managing those properties far away, because we were in California and his property is in Canada. So I just jumped in and said, let me help. I'm good at coordination and I'm good at communication. Let me communicate with the property manager and then make sure things are generating the most value. So that's how I got in. I think half year into managing the property managers, we let them go, because it's really hard to communicate with them, and then different mindset. They always think, the problem is in our property instead of trying hard to help us. So we decided to let them go and hire our own people. And at the same time, our first son was born, and we bought another big property. And it's like a lot of things together and really pushed me hard into that, property management and investing. But we didn't even think about quitting at that time. So 2018 is when our second son was born, and we were doing the budgeting for the family. And then my husband mentioned that we really can enable you to quit and then focus on the business more, so that it's good for overall for the family. I think I saw it for about 6 months, and then I was like really hesitating whether, because that's the only thing I know. That's the first job I had for many years. I never, tried different companies, but then decided, yeah, this is the right way. At least I can try and then see what happens. So I quit my job, and I think 6 months after that, I made it a goal to get my husband to retire, throw the things, the business we are running. I met my goal. So two years after which is the timeline I set, that we got my husband to quit his job at Google, which is like, really, really hard to let that much, salary go. But we decided it's better for the business and for the family. So that's how I got out of it.
Let me step in there for a moment, because there's so much that you say, and I want to get everything of it. And the first thing that you mentioned that I really, really liked was this next level of business, next level of freedom. It's really beautiful because, I also talk a lot about mastering your emotions, and how you put it into almost not a timeline, but into a line, or it could be almost like a timeline, is first you have freedom of money. Like, many people get to freedom of money, but then do you have freedom of time? Most of the people don't, and then it's like you can have freedom of money, and then you can have freedom of time. And then you added this third layer to it, which I really, really loved. What about your emotions? All people then think, oh, you have freedom of money and time, and now, in paradise. But what is with your emotions? And I would really love to hear a little bit more about that. What were your steps? Because it doesn't come by itself. It's not you have time and money and then your emotions are calm. Because you said, there was still lots of anxiety and lots of joy and almost up and down. So could you say a little bit more around, what helped you, or how did you perhaps even be more challenged with emotions, with this huge responsibility? And now you said, even retiring your husband, not having the financial checks coming in every month anymore, all the emotions also with family, that come up. Like, what were your steps around, mastering your emotions?
I won't say I understand every emotion. The one I experience most is anxiety. It comes in different phases. So the first time I experienced anxiety that really strong is after my son was born, because we were
The first one.
the first one. We were like first time parents, and both my husband and I were working a full-time job. Self-engineering can be quite demanding, and a new baby. And we didn't hire a nanny at that time. So we were working from home, take turns to work from home and take care of him at the same time. That was really extensive. I feel the first 6 months is very dark for me, because what I experience for anxiety is that I'm trying to put myself in many different places and taking up lots of responsibilities and not be able to focus on any of them. So I think that one of the reasons why I quit my job is that I feel like I'm putting myself in different sandboxes, because we were working full time, we were developing our business, buying more property, managing more property in our, free time, and then at the same time having kids. I feel like I'm putting myself in several sandboxes, but I wasn't able to focus. I feel proud that, I'm doing well in all of them. So that's why we got rid of that, the job part, and then say, let's focus on the kids and the businesses. So that's the first part. The second time that I having more anxiety is after in 2020, just before the lockdown, the global lockdown. We bought a boutique in Canada, and then the fear of how would our business do is
like a hotel, right?
Business.
Boutique in means like hotel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How would that do? And then we are also trying to build up the team. So I was doing like front desk, housekeeping, and on call, and then and also like business, lead the business operation, all that, finance, all of that in together. I remember one day, I think it's Christmas last year, I was getting ready to go to the inn, and I just suddenly realized I was walking, because I sent my car to US for importing, and I was walking to the inn, and I just suddenly realized I have come so far from what I was to where I am right now. Did I even stop and celebrate, or do I just keep going and to say, hey, I want more. There's a next challenge. I want to solve it. If I don't know how to solve it, I feel anxious, right? So just that thought, it makes me kind of pause and then realize that I don't have to go that fast if I don't want to. I can let myself, like, we have that freedom to just stop and have a, take a deep breath, not literally say take a deep breath, but like just the pace side. So that's, I think, the way that I handle anxiety, that emotion, is really to realize that, do I have to put myself in so many different areas because a lot of times it's just a choice, right? And then to realize that, focus on the present moment. One of the tip I want to share that really somebody, Marie Folio, she mentioned one thing that really helped me. So when she was building her business, she mentioned that, she was doing waitress in restaurants, and she was teaching people, dances, and at the same time building up her business. And then she mentioned that she have trained herself. If she's waitering, her only focus is waitering. If she's teaching people dancing, her only focus is teaching people dancing. If she's building her business, her only focus is building her business. So I think that to change your focus to whatever you are doing at that moment, not to think about everything else that you need to do, is a great way to calm your nervous system and to help with that anxiety. And that's just one emotion. I find overall for the emotion, the mastery, the first thing for me is awareness. You can't say I want to change it if you are not aware, if you don't understand yourself. So really understand, hey, what emotion do I experience most and what are the triggers? What do I do when I'm triggered? I used to have a habit is, when I feel anxious, I make myself even more anxious by, keep checking things. So now I know it does not help. I just say, hey, I feel anxious. If I start to check things, I told myself to stop. So really to understand yourself and try different ways to help it. It's not like you read a post online and then you feel like, oh, this is so good. This is so right. I try one time, it should work. It won't. You have to practice different ways, see what works best for you.
Yeah.
It's a journey. You would never to say, come to a point and say, I master all the emotions. Is even you master one emotion, you might still get it 95% of time, but 5% you might be really, intense, still feel it. So it's a journey that, you go through, but it's a journey worth pursuing to master your emotion, to have the freedom from your emotions.
Yeah, I love that. And I love 2 points you made here. Like one is like if you have many hats on or whatever, it's always a choice. So many people, I think they get stuck in this happens to me, I don't have a choice, which is not true. And you just said like, yeah, it really needs this awareness to understand yourself and try different paths. And yeah, you will get out of that. And like this focusing on the one thing you're doing right now. That it might not be for everyone, but definitely for many people that this is really the key to things. What I also liked before that, like you said before, because so many people think they have to give up things. And you said, hey, I kept the nice things about programming, for example. Like, yeah, you're not a software engineer anymore, or at least you don't bring the money in through that anymore. But you still can do the nice things. So many people think like when they step into freedom and they let go of stuff, they have to let go of everything. But it's not true, Like it's more about, again, choice. Do I choose what I like, or do I choose all the things that... And it's a different belief system. Like, can you believe that this is available? So I really love that.
As you are saying that, I think it's also, it's a build up confidence in yourself that, like, the more I say I can let go that part, the more I found confident in myself that without that thing, I will still feel good or even better. Is I think through your experience, you build up that confidence in yourself that I have the choice. I totally believe you mentioned that a lot of people think, things happen to them, so they don't have choice. I'm a true believer things happen for me. So every emotional roller coaster or like the negative emotional experience, I find that coming out of it, I learned a ton than just a normal day. It is a true opportunity if you feel anxious or if you feel fearful right now, if you feel worried. Use that to your advantage to understand yourself, to see how I can operate my life differently. You appreciate yourself taking that effort to really understand yourself.
And the next thing that you said, which I also like, I want to celebrate you as well, because I don't know if it was last Christmas or the one before that you said like, hey, let's pause and let's celebrate where I am. And this is so much like for the audience, for everyone who's listening, like many high achievers, many overachievers, it's always like, oh, what's the next thing and the next thing? And instead of like taking a pause and reflecting on, wow, how far have I come? And what if I just stayed here for a moment and enjoyed that? So can you tell a little bit more, perhaps, how you do that now? Like probably after this first, like, wow, let's celebrate. What does your day look like? Like, how do you integrate these learnings for yourself?
I think you might looking for some kind of ritual or some kind of process that I'm using to celebrate myself. In the middle, set timer to celebrate yourself. For me, I wanted to do that, but I find it's not just too rigid for me. For me, is I think it's also comes from that awareness to remind yourself to celebrate. I just use one example. After I quit my job, at the same time, we hired a nanny to take care of both kids so I can focus on the business. But I realized that I didn't actually enjoy the freedom of not having a boss anymore. Like I'm my own boss. I'm still operating from that 9 to 5. So I like nanny come in, I ran upstairs and start my work. And when I was sitting there, I was thinking about kids, and then I'm with kids, I'm thinking about my work. So the first 6 months actually wasn't really what I expected, that freedom, until I realized, stop enjoying this. Now you have the time to schedule yourself. You can, in the middle of the day, come down and play with the kids, or take a coffee break and then come down and play with the kids. Or if you even hear them laughing, just stop your work and run down and see what's happening. I think it is just that awareness. That one thing you can use, I use it sometimes, is when use your negative experience as a trigger. So when let's say you feel anxious, you feel like challenged, that why can't I get these things off? Instead of go directly to say blame yourself or push yourself and to say, hey, go ahead and solve it. That's a moment to not to say, be lazy or like just always look at the positive side, but at that moment to give yourself a pep talk and to say, hey, I did that before. Last time it was really challenging, but I solved it. And I believe in myself that I can do it again. So just that simple, reminder that I can do it again is a way for me to celebrate myself and to look ahead and not be afraid of the challenge ahead of me.
Oh yeah, I love that. And I love these little awarenesses and little insights, right? We always think also in personal development, it's the big thing. And then, as you said, you do it once and everything has changed. And it's not true. And even that you mentioned, it took you 6 months to get there, to change into I'm my own boss. And that means I don't have to sit there at the laptop from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5. Like all these things, they sound so easy. They sound so, yeah, of course. But then translate this into reality, into your own reality. That's like a big step. And I love that you mentioned these things also very openly, because also a lot out there, on IG and everywhere, it's like all the famous lifestyle. We have made it all. It's bullshit. Like most reality is still to struggle through and to get to that next level. So thank you for being so open. And perhaps I would love to hear a little bit more about your business that you started during COVID. So the hotel, the boutique inn. What do you think, like what made it work? Because it was a difficult time for a hotel business. So what are your thoughts, perhaps from a mindset perspective, but also practical perspective? What made it work in such a difficult time, difficult circumstance?
I will share that it was really scary. It's not, now we have more confidence that hotel is still an industry that makes lots of money, hospitality. And then you can also gather or also have lots of experience that really, people come to your hotel and they so like enjoying it and they had a great time with their family, friends. Like it's a great rewarding business as well. For the first few months, so we bought in February, and then March it started lockdown and my husband started to work from home. We know that at that, because we always manage our investing from California, like in different time zone. We manage that. But for hotel, without even a team there, it's really hard for us to do it. So we actually just packed up, sold our house, packed up, and drove back, I think 4 days from California to Canada. So we just moved back to to get the business going. The first few months was really scary. I think one of the things that really helped is the relationship between my husband and I. We panic at different times, so there's always a people grounding at any moment. The first few months, he was that grounding post that, just to say, hey, let's focus on what we can do at this moment. Don't worry about the big environment. Let's focus on renovations. Let's focus on open up few rooms. Because for us, it's several challenges combined together. The COVID, and then we bought this in. It was a long time brand. The brand has been known in the community for a long time. It's just the people who owned before just let it run down. So we also combined the challenge of starting a new business, but also bring up the property to
New standards.
the standard we want. The first few months, it's just to focus on what we can do, today, this week, and this month. And I didn't know that actually was the principle that helped us to, going through the whole thing. And now the second year of the business, we are already profiting a lot from the business. Is to really focus, like using an analogy. When you drive at night, you can't see your destination. You only focus on where your lights goes. And you just focus on, okay, I'm going to drive to follow the lights. So that's how we did. It's just continuous improving and just focus on the things that's just ahead of us. Like, okay, lockdown, then let's, serve whatever guest that's come in, right now, even just a few guests, one guest or two guests per day, let's serve them well, make them feel really valued, really happy. And then eventually, like this year, we've been having really great occupancy because of the good reviews we get from 2020, and then a lot of repeat guests. And then we also adding more service. Last year we only opened the lodging part, and this year we started the restaurant, opened the restaurant, and then we're gonna open another restaurant this year. So just really focus on what's in front of you. And I also believe, I think it's from Tony Robbins' book that I keep repeating to myself, is our business have seasons. Like your life have seasons too. So if we are in the winter right now, like last year we were in the winter, that means spring gonna come. And the winter is the time you take a rest, and then to really build up the strategy, build up the team, and then spring comes, and then boom, you are, the business is booming. That's exactly what we did. And we are also, looking forward to another spring and summer, when things getting better. Like we get into more less restrictions. Yeah, so that's the principle I use. Focus on the front, what's in front of you, and then believe that it have up and downs, but it has seasons. Mm. And then if you're in the winter, just stay a little bit longer. The spring gonna come.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. And also what you said before, like different almost times where you panic or your partner panics, like also, yeah, it's also a really nice thing of seeing things. As we get to the end of the interview, what are some more, it might be investment tips. Perhaps you have some investment tips, as you obviously come from a long time of investing. What are principles you have to follow? And also obviously mindset tips or also practical tips around business. So free flow for you, basically.
Investment tips. One thing come to my mind is budgeting. I think if you say, hey, I want more money, but you are even scared of looking your bank account because it's so low, or if you are so frustrated when you look at, like, you don't even know how much you are spending, how much you are earning every month, that is, you have to get over that to learn budgeting. And a lot of people think budgeting is this complicated process. Like they think about the companies that do their, budgeting season, and they have like very complex, a whole accounting team to do that. It's not really true. Like for you to start, it's just the budgeting your monthly income and monthly expense, because you need to know how much you can spend on investing, and whether you need to save more or whether you need to get a better job. Like all those things, it takes steps. It's not like you go from whatever you are and just to investing. You need to understand where your budget is. And also for me, investing, it's just even getting into buying properties, it's just a number game. You put it into an Excel and then say, hey, what's the income, what's the expense, can I make money, how much I want to offer this property. At the end, to me, it's just a math game. If you know how to use the Excel, if you know how to do addition, if you use Excel, you don't even need to know the addition and deduction. It's just use that. And then so for me to learn investing, the first step is to learn budgeting.
I love that. Yeah, and it also shows, like everyone can start at any time. Like I see that. But running away from numbers and saying it's not for me, yeah, that's a sure way to keep yourself from that very expansive field, so to say. And what would be, perhaps as a last thought, be 1, 2 more tips or perhaps thoughts around mindset? What helps you to get to the next stage? What helped you to overcome many of the challenges that you already mentioned?
One mindset that plays a big role in my life, and I learned this, I don't know that from beginning, I learned this from my own struggles, is the mindset to turn problems into opportunities. This is related with emotions as well. I used to go through, those up and downs in my life. At one point, I thought, hey, maybe I should check whether I have bipolar, because it's just when I'm productive, I'm so productive. When I'm low, I just don't even want to, do anything. And then I realized at that time was my big goal for me to, hey, how do I to have less downs, like have more ups? And I just started to observe myself. I noticed that I have no control of up and downs, but I have control over when the trigger happens, how I respond to it. My old operating system is, when a challenge happens, I started to push myself or, really blame myself and say, hey, why did you let it happen? Why didn't you, like, you need to do this, but you don't do it. You are lazy, like all this self-blaming. And I'm pushing myself down even further till I reach the bottom and then say, hey, I can't live like this. So that's why, I have that up and downs, and I was trying to change it. But until I realized that is at that moment, the first challenge happened, how I respond to it really matters. That's I learned. And so many of my experience prove that every problem is an opportunity in disguise. It depends on how you respond to it. So now, my operating system is to, okay, this is I don't want to fail this. This is a negative experience. And what can I learn? Maybe that means I need to learn in this area more. Maybe I need to learn leadership more, or maybe I need to, build our relationship before I need to lead that relationship. So like all kinds of things that I started to be aware when the challenge happens. I look at not as a problem I need to get rid of, but an opportunity to learn what I can learn from this. What do I need to build? What do I need to have in order to solve these challenges? And then it becomes not up and downs, but a ladder. Every problem it builds out to you to be better. And then you will have bigger problems, big challenges, but the reward is also big.
Yeah. I love that. And I actually love this also as an end note from you today, because again, this is such a huge thing for so many entrepreneurs out there, the ups and downs. And how do you change that? You don't change it once you're already at the lowest part, like learn to work with the triggers from the beginning on. And and then you build a ladder instead of this up and down. I like this picture you gave us there. So obviously, if people want to find you, I guess I will put your website in there, perhaps some social media contacts. Would that be good to have that in the show notes to contact you, or any other preferred way?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my most active platform. So just search for Minna Hu. And then my website is walkthefreedompath.com.
Okay, perfect. Both of them will be in the comments. And I'm so much looking forward when traveling is open again. And I will for sure go perhaps with my partner on a little trip to Canada and visit you in your inn. This will be amazing.
Yeah,
so excited.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you for your time, Minna, and your experience and your knowledge. It was amazing having you on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you, Nidia. Really honored to be here.
Did you like this podcast episode? Then please share it with people who you know could benefit from it. Also, I would be super grateful if you could leave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. It would mean such a lot to me. If you want to stay connected with me, please join my Telegram channel for daily mini reminders around mindset, business growth, investing, and living life to the fullest. Or message me directly on Instagram or LinkedIn. You will find all the links in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode. Much love, Lydia.